What happens when a writer-director decides to make the biggest, tropiest blockbuster saga they can imagine? Years of success in filmmaking has led to this point, and now they have carte blanche to create their own new universe. The story has been written, and it's going to be epic, spanning multiple films. But to build interest in a new franchise, you really have to nail part one. Late last year, Zack Snyder gave us A Child of Fire, part 1 of 6 of his original IP space opera, Rebel Moon. It's the story of Korra, a former soldier of the Imperium, going out and recruiting a team of mercenaries to protect her newfound family of farmers from the Motherworld's dreadnought that descends on the moon of Velt. The film drips with Snyder's signature filmmaking style, with gorgeous establishing shots, a great sense of scale, and the slow-motion action that he introduced to us all with his first foray into being both writer and director, 2006's 300. He also directed the music video for Black Gold and Somebody to Shove by Soul Asylum. That fact is in no way relevant to this video, but it's something I learned while looking at his Wikipedia page, and as a lover of early 90s rock, I thought it was a fun fact. Also, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to be talking about the director's cut, Rebel Moon, Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, because A, even fewer people saw that than Child of Fire, and B, Child of Fire was the first part 1. Let me know in the comments how the director's cut fixed every one of my criticisms, if that's how you feel. This past June, Kevin Costner released Chapter 1 of Horizon, an American Saga. This film returns Costner to the Western genre where he started his directing career with 1990's Dances with Wolves, which won Best Picture and Costner his own award for Best Director. The American West, which gave him his first critical acclaim as a filmmaker, serves as the perfect, comfortable setting for this planned 4-part epic. He also directed The Postman, which is kinda a Western, and I still maintain is a good movie, if for no other reason than the fact that Tom Petty plays his post-apocalyptic self.
I know you. You're famous.
I was once. Sort of. Kind of. Not anymore.
We talked about both of these movies on Up Your Alley, the podcast I do with my best friend Jake. It comes out every Friday. We recommend the other person a movie, TV show, game, book, album, whatever, and review them the next week based on how much the rec was up our individual alleys. Subscribe to this channel for that. We both liked Horizon a lot and felt that Rebel Moon was just okay, if not good. I don't want to trash Zack Snyder. I like his movies. Trashing him is usually great for engagement on videos because he has such ardent defenders, but Rebel Moon just didn't click as the first part of a saga the way Horizon did. So here's why I think that is. The first thing Horizon had going for it from the jump was the setting. It's the Old West. We get it. We essentially know the rules of this world and the players ahead of time. It opens up with some gorgeous establishing shots and then a simple card that says San Pedro Valley, 1859. Got it. Even if you don't know exactly where the San Pedro Valley is, you see the landscape, see the year, and you're in. It also has these great shots while the settlers are surveying the land that literally puts them in the crosshairs as a nod to the danger in this territory, which is genius. Rebel Moon starts with a narration, a long narration. In the same 2 minutes that it took Costner to get us into the world of Horizon, Rebel Moon gives us Anthony Hopkins telling us the story of the Motherworld and the assassin's blade that struck down the king and the queen in the chaotic aftermath, and a senator named Balisarius who seized power, none of which we see on screen at that point. It's a lot of exposition to take in all at once and keep in your head. Later in the movie, we have Anthony Hopkins, actually on screen this time. Well, kind of. The robot he's voicing is on screen, relating the story of the king and the princess to another character. So why did we need this extended prologue? Next, I'm going to be dropping some spoilers coming up for both films, because we need to talk about how the characters develop. Right before Korra sets off to find her crew and fight back against the Imperium, we have one of the best scenes in the movie. One of the farmers is grabbed and about to be assaulted by the occupying soldiers while Korra is trying to sneak out. She jumps to defend the girl, and her taking down the bad guys is such a great Zack Snyder action scene.
Pocket sand!
With the trademark slow-mo fighting and gunplay, and it's the best bit of character development for Korra. It's a real show-don't-tell scenario where we see how capable and deadly she is, and she'll put the innocent above herself. This is objectively great. Kevin Costner's character, Hayes, has a similar scene when a man comes to town looking to harm Marigold, who Hayes has just met, and Hayes takes him down. It's established we have our two badasses. Since Rebel Moon is just Korra's story, we follow her as she gets the rest of the team together, bouncing from planet to planet, picking up fighters, all of whom have a grudge against the Imperium. It comes off as repetitive and shallow, and it's hard to care about these newer characters because the team doesn't even start to form until halfway through the movie, each one getting a 10-minute or so vignette to establish who they are. And then the final battle, part 1, bad guy's dead, ? Back to Velt, bad guy not really dead, to be continued. It's rushed. Also, this is a bit unfair, but in part 2, The Scargiver, we have a scene sitting around a table where every character has to give their backstory to remind the audience who they are and why they're fighting in the first place. The setup was that forgettable. Horizon jumps back and forth between a few different storylines, so we have time to see who our main characters are in their own stories. The Widow Kittredge's burgeoning new love with an army lieutenant, the Sykes brothers chasing after Ellen and then Hayes, the schism in the native tribe with the son leaving his father behind to follow his own path and become a leader, Headhunters trying to kill Apache. Michael Rooker just being fantastic in every scene that he's in. Union soldiers heading off to go shoot the racism out of the South.
Who's talking shit? Like, I was like, the South is talking shit. They were like, F that. I don't like that. Give me my gun. I'm going to go down there.
Whatever Luke Wilson's name was leading the wagon train, and all roads eventually leading to Horizon, the town on the frontier. Horizon ends with a montage of what's to come and where every character is going to be in Chapter 2. Also, a lot of shots of Giovanni Ribisi, who's the bad guy, I guess, when he's running a printing press. What's Jivy Ribs up to? Doesn't look good. Find out next time on Horizon. Zack Snyder is an incredibly talented filmmaker. No matter what he does, I'll always thank him for being the man who gave me Ben Affleck in the best live-action Batman fight scene. But it seems with Rebel Moon, he thought of the story and then had to drag the characters through Part 1 to get them where he needed to go. Whereas Horizon leaves us feeling like we're watching the pieces being moved around on a chessboard, and I can't wait to see where they end up. Hayao Miyazaki once said about animation, but it can pertain to any kind of storytelling, really. He said, what drives animation is the will of the characters. You don't depict fate, you depict will, even if fate exists. And that's what Kevin Costner shows us in Chapter 1. Each of these characters' will to survive in the West and what they'll do to get to their horizon. As of making this video, Horizon Chapter 2 is still delayed. It's shot and done by all accounts, but with the slow box office for Part 1, it was shipped onto Max, where you can stream it now, with the studio saying they want to give audiences more time to watch and understand the first movie before releasing the sequel. Did they learn this lesson from Rebel Moon? Maybe. Rebel Moon had Part 2 being released 4 months after Part 1, and a director's cut for both films being released 4 months after that with very little fanfare. I find it hard to believe this wasn't brought up when talking about Chapter 2 of Horizon. So go watch Horizon on Max. Hopefully if enough people stream it, we can convince the studio to give it a proper cinema release. I'll admit I didn't make it out to see Part 1 in theaters, so I'm part of the problem. And this movie yearns for the big screen, and I'm sorry I missed it. Go watch Rebel Moon Part 1 and 2 on Netflix, too. They're fun. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching this video. Again, I have a podcast with my best friend Jake. It comes out on this channel every Friday. Like, subscribe, review, tell your friends, do all that great YouTube algorithm stuff. Thanks, y'all.